Wishing you all a very good morning on this Friday morning after the wonderful Turiya Dev meditation. Let us continue the thoughts on today's topic. Our own treasure box. Our own treasure box. We all might have heard this famous saying by Swami Vivekananda. All power is within you. You can do anything and everything. How is it sounding to us? Or how is it applicable to us in our life? And how is it reflecting in others' life around us? If we spend some time thinking on those questions, we could see the practicality, right, of this saying. It's not easy for everyone to see this in their life. So that is what we will see when we compare with most of the people around us, right? So let us think some more. Why is it difficult to do this if there is a strong saying by a great personality? Because when he said that it should be applicable for everyone's life, right? So why we are seeing that as difficult? Is it really difficult, or we are making that more difficult? So that is also to be thought about. And what are the factors which are deciding our own success to be in that quote's applicability? So let us spend some time on this analysis through the topic of discussion today. Okay, in this point of time, I wanted to mention another quote also, which is a bit contradicting to this. You can't achieve anything entirely by yourself. There is a support system that is a basic requirement of human existence. There is no need to investigate who said this, because we all might have heard this saying from our own well-wishers who are around us, or especially most of us might have heard from our mothers about this, right? So always we used to hear, you cannot do the things on your own. We need people, and we need to build a relationship and maintain relationship. So this all we might have heard. That is a background for this saying. Okay, so both of these are sounding a bit contradicting. Let's analyze this also in our topic of discussion today. So going back to the topic, just elaborating the words in it. So our own treasure box. So when we are seeing that, the word treasure, that's being highlighted in the topic, right? So treasure. So what we mean by treasure? We can say it's like full of valuables, right? It's like a place where it is filled with abundance of valuable items. And even though we are taking it continuously, it may not finish. So that kind of abundance, that's what we are meaning by the word treasure, right? And the next one is about the box. When we say the word box, we all could visualize it's like a closed container where we can keep the things secured manner. So that is what we mean by the treasure box. So the first suffix, our own treasure box. So our own, when we say our own, it is inside us. and it's our personal property. And since it is inside us, others may not realize it until they interact very closely with us, right? So that's what we mean. So we all have our own treasure box within us. Yes or no? If yes, yeah, what is that? Which one is meant as treasure box within us? Can I expect your thoughts spent on this question, and you may answer through the chat? What exactly is meant as treasure box within us? Any thoughts? Around 16 are there. I could see, yeah, there is one answer coming up now. Rachel Surya has mentioned skills. Skills are the treasure box within us. And yeah, there is one answer which could be seen as GC, Mentor's Genetic Center. And Netaji also mentioned about Genetic Center. Yeah, whoever practicing Vegatrium, they can realize that, right? So skills, yes, of course, they are also our treasure, but it's like instead of box, it's spread around, right? Because there could be some physical skills and mental skills which could be exhibited across, right? So when we talk about a treasure box, like something kept secured within us with full of valuables, yes, it is meant as genetic center. That is what our guru Sri Vedati Maharishi is also terming as genetic center, which is placed at the exact physical center of our physical body, right? When you put a vertical axis and horizontal axis, and they are both axis points are meeting, that point is the place where our genetic center is located. And even though Maharishi is using this term, genetic center, to understand more, we can know the other names of this also, so that we can exactly relate based on our understanding, right? The soul, our inner self, conscience, divine treasure, those are the other names of genetic center in which our inner treasure box is also added, right? Because it's containing everything, how it is containing, what it is containing, what are the valuables in it, and how those are coming to that, and how can we utilize that. So those are the few more points which we will be thinking further. So to understand those about the genetic center, the nature and background and significance of it, we need to know some basic concept about mind and its functioning, and also the imprints and its nature. So first we will go with understanding the term about imprint. Imprint, by the term itself, we know that it is getting printed and stored within us, right? Printed in the sense it is like not on printed on the paper like we see physically. It is getting the image is getting compressed and stored within us. So that's what this word is really meaning, imprint. So how that imprint is created? Whenever we do anything by our physical body, using the five sensory organs and also brain. So with all this, when we are doing anything in our physical daily life, so we are sending the biomagnetism through it, right? So by sending some kind of biomagnetic wave from us through the sensory organ, for example, we will take like seeing an object, right? Through eyes, we are spreading our biomagnetism and spreading the biomagnetic wave through our eyes to an object, which is at the opposite of us. So once it is hitting the object, based on that nature of its the object's nature, there is some effect produced on our biomagnetic wave, which is emanated from us, right? So it could be a person or it could be an object. So if it is a person, that person's biomagnetism will also get mingled with our biomagnetic wave. If it is an object, that universal magnetism of that object's nature is getting mingled with our biomagnetic wave, which is emanated from our eyes. Then that is creating some kind of change in our biomagnetic wave, and that wave is getting reflected back to our eyes. So we know that due to the interaction, this is the object or this is the person we are interacting with. And that is changed as a visible manner because eye has got its own skill. That is the special skill of each sensory organ within our body, right? Since we are talking about eye as an example. So it is converted as a visible object, and that object is again compressed and sent to our brain, and the brain is analyzing, doing some kind of analysis by taking the earlier stored information within our body from another place and comparing with this and giving some kind of information. This is what the brain is doing. So this is the way continuously every sensory organ or the biomagnetic principle is functioning within our body. So everything which is created through this magnetic wave interference with other object or person, it's creating an imprint within us. So let's keep this as a base understanding for continuing further. And once that is recorded as imprint, what it will be doing further. So there are three things happening. So storing is one part, and other part is like manifestation of it. So the stored information will not sit idle, even though we are not doing anything physically. So those will be coming back, getting manifested and getting expanded as thoughts, feelings, and scenes. Yes, we might have experienced also, right? When we are talking about like earlier example, when we are seeing something, we are sending our biomagnetism through the eyes and getting some information, analysis, and comparing to that. So this is on the storing part. So when we are talking about the other side, even though we are not seeing anything in front of us, the thoughts from the stored information will get manifested and expand as thought. For example, if you are suddenly seeing somebody in front of us, if he is similar to a person who has been seen around 30 years ago in our school life, so we will be recalling about our own friend at school, right? And some of the incidents or some interactive information will be getting blossomed as thoughts within us. So this is what the manifestation process to understand how that is happening. And in some occasions, it's manifested and expanded as feelings. For feelings, we can take the example of like watching a movie, and you see that even though you know that it is someone else's life and someone else's situation which is being played as video in front of us, due to the emotional involvement and due to the emotional linkage between that, so we feel that it's happening to our own, and we will be getting some kind of feelings which is exhibited through our physical body. So this is what also happening due to the expansion process. And the other one is scenes. Yeah, for scenes also we can try to relate with some kind of practical example. Like when we talk about some proud achievement of us in our earlier, for example, yeah, in school life we have done significant achievement and we were getting a reward on the stage. So that scene will not be forgotten all through our life, right? Anywhere else, some similar situation is coming, and when we are trying to see some kind of similar thing in front of us, immediately that will get manifested and expanded from the stored information, and our scene will be playing mentally within us. It would be able to see the event as a scene. So these are the three kind of manifestation happening. So the imprints are getting stored and also getting manifested and expanded. So these two processes are continuously happening within us. And the next part, when we are spending the biomagnetism through the sensory organs, what is exactly happening to that? Because we know that we should not be overspending biomagnetism, which we learned in the Vedatrian practices. At the same time, we cannot shut all the sensory organs also, right? It is like nature's way of getting information to our physical body. So those will be continuously functioning and the biomagnetism will be spent through them. So what exactly will be happening when we are spending? We are getting some kind of experience through that, which can be categorized as pleasure, pain, peace, and ecstasy. So these are the four levels of experience we will be getting through the sensory organs, right? Whatever the activities we do and whatever the sensual organ utilize, these are the four categories of experience we are all feeling. So when we are getting this as a result, so this kind of enjoyment, experience, or effect, whatever be the experience, whatever be the enjoyment among these four, pleasure or pain or peace or ecstasy, those are recorded as imprints. So that is what we have seen in the recording part also, right? So just to understand the categories of these four. And these imprints are again two ways. It is getting recorded in two different manners, we can say. Like one is called as Pava and other one is Punya, which is called like sinful imprints and noble imprints. So to understand with a common word, we might have heard, right? We are all doing some activities. Because of that, we are acquiring some kind of Pava, or we are acquiring some kind of Punya. So both are happening because of this stored imprints only. So let's think more on that also, how that is being categorized and what process is deciding as Pava and Punya. So the first one, when we take that, as we say that when we do all our actions, when we mean by actions, it is not only the physical activity. It is like actions done through thoughts, words, deeds, through any of these. So these all three are covered generally and same as actions. Okay. So when we are doing any kind of action, it has a result, right? So that result can be in two categories. It can be seen as two categories. That is what we are saying about Pava and Punya earlier. So one of the example here pictorially shown here is for the sinful imprint. How is it being done? If there is a habit or action done from the negative manner, so that will be creating some kind of physical illness. So another typical example, if you want to recall, we all can think about this, which we have gone through many times in our life, right? Taking a heavy dinner at late night because the food is very tasty, and then next whole day we'll be struggling with our stomach upset. So that is also one of the example which is creating this kind of simple imprint. So why is it categorized as sin imprints or Pava? So Marish has given again a wonderful formula to categorize this, right? So when the result of that action creates a pain, not only to us, that is pain to self or others, either to us or to others, and either present or future, or physically or mentally. So in any of these ways, if the result of our action is creating a pain, then that is categorized as sinful imprint and recorded as bhava within us in our treasure box. We'll come to that more on that. Okay, it's being recorded as a sinful imprint. That's what we are seeing. So we are trying to understand the functioning of all the concepts about mind's functioning as well as the imprint's nature, so that we'll be able to deal more with our stored space, which is the treasure box, right? So that is the way we are continuing the understanding and improving our understanding more on this. And the next one, so when we understand the power, so the punya is opposite to that. So whenever the action is creating a result which is giving some kind of wellness or benefits to, again, self or others, present or future, mentally or physically, then that is recorded as punya, which is also called as virtue or noble imprints, whatever we call it as. So these are categorized as noble imprints and recorded within us. So every action and its result are recorded as imprints. This is applicable for all the actions. So here action means its thoughts and words and deeds. All those are covered in that. Okay. So these imprints which are stored will not get idle. As I was telling earlier also, the other process also will be continuously happening, right? So it will get manifested even though we are not doing anything through our physical body. So it will get manifested from within us, and that will be happening repeatedly due to its nature. And that will become our habit, and the results through our actions are again recorded as bhava and punya. So this is the cyclic process which is continuously happening when we talk about mind's functioning as well as the imprints. So these are the background which we need to keep as a basis for today's topic of discussion. So that is the reason it's kind of a recall I went through with all of you on this understanding. Okay, so by this, we are all getting a clear message that the good and bad are not in our actions. Can you say that? We are getting that clearly, right? Because the actions are not deciding, are not giving the direct categorization of bhava, punya, right? The result of our actions is the deciding factor for this. So that is what we need to understand when we talk about actions and result. So it all depends on the result of our actions, which is deciding whether good or bad. As we talked earlier, when the result is good, not only creating a wellness or benefit to self or others, present or future, physically or mentally, with all those categories, that is categorized as punya. So the result is the deciding factor for everything of this categorization. So another point of view is the good and bad both are recorded within us, right? And we have a choice of executing it also when it is getting manifested from within us. Since we have said that everything is recorded within us and it is being manifested within us also, so before executing the action, again, if we are having a clear thought process or clear control on the activities we do, we will be able to make the change in our life. So that is what the initial quote was mentioning, and that is the link we are all missing and finding as a challenge, which is not meeting to the quote's reality in our life, right? So that is where I'm trying to relate now. So all our deeds are creating some results as pleasure or pain, or we can say like this is bhava or punya. So by changing our actions, we can change the results also. So we said that the results are the designing factors, but we cannot change the result because our actions will give the result. So when we change our actions, we can change the result also. So everything is within us, but we got a choice of implementation in what way we need to do. when the manifestation process is happening from our imprint within our body. So before putting that manifested effect into our actions, we need to have a clear thought process so that we will be able to change the result itself. So before continuing further about the changing process, we need to understand the types of imprints also. It is not only the imprints which we have gone through our sensual organ. That is what Maharishi is also philosophically explaining, that there are three types of imprints being stored with all of us. The first type is called as Sanchita Karma, and the second one is Prarabdha Karma, and third one is Agami Karma. When we say Sanchita Karma, we mean that the imprints which are acquired by our hereditary connections from our parents and their parents and all the forefathers. You are going back, and up to the first living being. And even before that, even the living beings are not there in that situation, how the universe was functioning, all the five elements and nature, and before that, the static space. So up to that, all the hereditary connection are holding some fraction of imprints and being recorded as an initial stock with all of us when we are born. So this is common for every human being, which is the Sanchita Karma. And the second type of Prarabdha Karma, which is the kind of imprints which are acquired in our birth. Maharishi is further guiding us by telling that after the age of 3 in our own life, whatever the actions we do, that produces some results, and those results are recorded within us. Those kind of imprints are categorized as Prarabdha Karma. So the next one, Agamya Karma, it is the deciding factor of our future karma. How are we going to be in any kind of situation when we are going to put up any action? So that is going to produce a result and recording as an imprint, right? So those categories are called as Agamya Karma. So that is based on the other two. Sanchita Karma and Prarabdha Karma are initially available within our storage space. So from there only it's getting manifested and triggering us to do some kind of actions. Those actions will produce some result, so that will be applied as Agami Karma. So here is the work mainly we need to do to change, to bring some kind of improvements or changes in our life. If you want to abolish some kind of habit which you don't want to continue, so you have to work more on this Agami Karma. So based on the Sanchita Karma and Prarabdha Karma, that due to the habit, that imprint will trigger you to do the same action, but we have to put a control before executing that action with some kind of special power or extra energy we need to have to do that change, to bring that change, so that we will be able to get the changes acquired in us as Agami Karma. Okay, so this is where the another important work there for us also by understanding these type of imprints. And now, where are these imprints stored? We talked about all three types, right? So all three types which are coming even before our physical body is evolved. So how can that be stored within us, and how is it explained philosophically? So as we talked before, the genetic center, which is the exact physical center of our body, is the space where all these information or all these imprints are stored. So how is it possible? Let us think in this scientific world, can we relate to that some kind of scientific facts which are available for us to analyze? And let us try to think, how is it possible to store some kind of information which were available even before our birth, and some kind of imprints which are going to be happening in our life also. Everything and in our life, whatever happens. So all these are getting stored in a place. So is that practical? So when we try to analyze and with all available scientific physical gadgets which are physically seen by us, we will be able to relate to this fact, philosophical fact, right? So we are seeing now today how much is the memory space available in our personal computers. Some 50 years ago, when we are talking about computers, it's all like taking a huge space of any kind of building or whatever, and we will be able to store some kind of limited information only. But in today's world, due to the advancement with the scientific technologies, we are able to carry a kind of computer in our hand when wherever we go, and very high level of memory space is also available in today's world, which can have any kind of information stored into it, right? So everything is by the magnetism. So the same concept is explained by our guru also for this kind of memory storage within our body. So another significance of the genetic center, which is explained by our guru, is like there are three kind of circulation which are also happening by centering on this spot, which is called as genetic center. So the vital fluid, which is the base energy for all of our physical body's evolvement, and also for its growth and until death, that is playing as a base force, right? So that vital fluid is situated physically after the sexual maturity, that is at genetic center. Okay. And the next one is a life force. The life force is also being circulated across our physical body, all around the physical body. It is continuously getting circulated. So the life force is also centered with genetic center. Keeping that as a center, the circulation of life force is happening in our physical body, which is termed as astral body. And the next one is the biomagnetism. So the biomagnetic energy is also available all through our body, which is on continuous circulation, right? So the biomagnetic circulation is also happening in our body by keeping the genetic center as the center of it. So that is the base of the causal body. So for all three bodies, physical body, astral body, causal body, are functioning by keeping the genetic center as the center of it. So this is what the significance of the genetic center. So that is the reason all the information transfer is also effectively happening, either the storing part or the manifestation part. Both are happening equally by this circulation, which is naturally available on. And that is the reason this spot, the genetic center, is selected as a storage space also, because of all this significance. Because we talked about the types of imprints what are stored, right? It is not only in our lifetime or just 100 years before our lifetime. No, it's like thousands and thousands of years before evaluation of anything in this universe. Also, we have those experiences also recorded within us. So based on the manifestation and based on our ability, we will be able to get through all those, again, realize, which is practically seen with some great Mahans like our Guru, right? So he'll be able to recall all those facts from the imprint what is acquired within him. So it is like proven to all of us, it is stored there. And why it is stored, that reason is also explained to us. And scientifically, we could relate also. So that is the important and significant of the genetic center. So as we have seen, yeah, Maharishi is confirming that again, this is the place it is stored on when we categorize all kind of, when you call any kind of imprints, that is recorded and stored in this genetic center. From genetic center only, it is getting manifested, and through brain, it's sent as a command through the relevant sensory organ so that the action will be triggered. either through the sensory organ or as a thought from the brain. This is the manifestation process which we have seen earlier. So just to relate our understanding again, earlier we have seen like two kind of process through which the imprints are functioning, right? One is the storing part, other one is the expanding part. So both are happening by having a proper connection of the genetic center with brain and further to all our physical sensory organs. So through this only, everything is getting functioning and everything is recorded within us. And we got a choice also as we talked earlier. Okay. With all this understanding, how can we bring changes in our life? Before going to the change, making change in our life part, I just have adding another information also on the genetic center imprints. Yeah, imprints are not only being recorded in genetic center, and there are 5 other places also it's being recorded. Let's see that first and try to understand whether we are getting clear with that. So the first place, body and sense organs, it's recorded as action imprints. And in our brain cells, it's recorded as thought imprints. And in our biomagnetism, which is getting continuously circulated all over our physical body, it is getting recorded as reflection imprints. And the life energy particles, which is also getting circulated all over our body. Millions of life energy particles are within our physical body, which is creating a life force to us, right? So that life energy particles are also holding the imprints as superconscious imprints. And in the genetic center, as we have seen earlier, in genetic center, it is recorded in the form of quality imprints. And in the universal magnetism, social imprints. So again, not to get confused with the imprints. So imprints are getting recorded everywhere, all these places. Then how we said earlier, it's only genetic center. No, that's not the process. When we talk about our own physical boundary, so it's mainly getting recorded in genetic center as a long term. So these are all like others are like momentary recordings or some kind of repeated imprints will be staying for longer also. So that is the difference between these two. And again, elaborating this with a practical experience. We all might have gone through this experience, right? We will go to a restaurant for a dinner, sitting there and giving the order of our own choice of dishes and waiting for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So when we are going through this delay, we will have a feeling of like, we should not have come here, we should not have ordered this, all this kind of thought process will go on. Then we will conclude, okay, next time we should not be coming to this restaurant because they are taking time to get the dishes. Okay, again, once dishes comes, we will move away from that thought and continue our enjoying our dinner. Then we will come back. After 2 weeks, when we are going, when we are thinking about having a dinner in a restaurant, without realizing the previous experience, we will go and sit there. And then when we are getting the delay in that process, again, we will think what we have done. Last time we have realized that not to do this, why we have done that. Same thing applicable for while driving also. We may be thinking this road is not to be chosen when we are in a hurry, but again, we will be doing that. These are all happening because the right way of stored information is not happening. That is what we need to work on also. When the imprints are getting stored with our genetic center, we have to relate all the information. Yeah, the food is good there. Our choices are meeting all our, their dishes are meeting all our expectation. These all are true, but when we order, they will take time. So when you are in hurry, don't go there. So with all this information together, we have to store it in the genetic center. Otherwise, what is happening? This partial information which is staying in our sensory organs will say that, yeah, the food is good there. The choice will be better for us. So let's go to the restaurant again. That is what happening. So momentarily, we are deciding by following our sensory organs decision, which came because of the action imprints. right? So that is where we need to work also. When we talk about agami karma, we have to take all the stored information from the genetic center, the quality imprints, which has all the quality related information, not only the taste, not only the choices, it will be covering the delay information and also any further information we are going through that experience. All these will be stored in that quality. So we have to give some sufficient time to get those quality imprints also taken out, analyzed before doing that similar action in the future. So that is where we can work also by having all this information available for us. Okay, now another part of it, we all might have heard the law of nature. Every action has its equivalent result. So anything is done, there is a result and there is an effect for that, right? So this is what the law of nature also telling. So if that is true again, how can we bring changes in our life? So can we make, this is what some people we used to raise question, right? If law of nature is fixed, so what we can do? It is nothing in our hands. So every action will produce a result. So action is being done by me and the result is also coming to me and the law of nature is driving and I'm not doing anything and I cannot bring changes. This is what somebody's level of understanding, but we need to utilize all our knowledge which we acquired through our practices, Vedantic practices. With all those knowledge, when we analyze the same law of nature, the fact here is the actions, when the actions are changed, the result also will be changed. Because the result only we cannot directly change. That's what people are thinking. The result is decided by law of nature. So how can I bring change? So for changing the result, we need to change our actions. So in this way of making the changes, we will be able to remove the sinful imprints, even though if it is taking a time consuming process, it is achievable. And as a starting point, instead of removing all totally, we will be able to reduce the severity of the sinful imprints easily. How can we do that? Even the earlier sinful imprint is acquired within our genetic center and being manifested, right? So before putting on execution, we will be able to put a control point, checkpoint, and not to take any new sinful imprints. This is the first gate. The second one is by doing more and more noble deeds, like acquiring more and more punya, we will be able to reduce the severity of power, that is sinful imprints also. So these are the two immediate things we need to work on so that we will be able to manage the law of nature or utilize the effect of law of nature on our own beneficial way. So as we talked, yeah, to eradicate the old imprints, we need to have a stage of divine realization. So that is where all our Vedantic practices are preparing us to reach to that destination. So divinity is the base for everything. All the persons we interact with are all the physical objects in this universe. All are the manifestation from the divinity. That is a single base which is the driving force for all of us. So through that, we are all connected with all the persons and all the objects. So seeing it from that high level of understanding, so we will be able to eradicate all the old imprints. The effectiveness also will go down. And to prevent the fresh ones, so that is what we talked earlier, right? That is the immediate one we need to do, the Agamya Karma part. Agamya Karma part, we have to change the actions which is to be done, even though the nature of Prarabdha Karma and Sanchita Karma is telling us to do the action. Before putting into action, our own analysis should be deciding not to do that. So for that only, that extra energy to be utilized with constant awareness. So with that only, we will be able to do the prevention of fresh ones. So for keeping that continuous constant awareness, the virtuous life will be supporting us. So we have to always change our lifestyle to be on the virtuous path, removing the pain to others or not creating any pain to others. So that is the basis for the virtuous life, right? So in that basis, when we start changing our lifestyle, we will be preventing all the fresh imprints, which are the sinful imprints going to be there in our life. So in these two paths, like divine realization and virtuous life, when we are growing more and more, then we will be able to reach to the stage of ecstasy, which is on that four kind of experience I was telling earlier, right? We are all stopping in the first two, pleasure and pain. So not going to the third phase of peace and fourth phase of ecstasy. So that is the stage, whatever the activities we do, actions, again, it means that through the thought, deed, or word, when we do, the ecstasy should be the target status we wanted, and automatically the contentment peace will be also there when we are growing more and more on these two paths. So this way, we will be able to bring changes in our life instead of telling that whatever I do, the law of nature has decided and it's happening. We know that, okay, law of nature is strongly there and our imprints, previous imprints are strongly there. That is the reason it's happening. But by accepting it and gradually bringing the transformation with patience, by keeping the constant awareness, we will be definitely able to see the changes. But without having that patience, when we try to take some shortcut or some kind of laziness in implementation, then we will not be able to see. So this is what I thought of sharing with you all by comparing the quote at the beginning, when it is told everything and anything can be done by anyone. So how is that possible? When we understand all of these philosophical facts and bring that for our implementation in our daily life, so we will be able to do that. For that, again, formally, how to bring changes, like what is a formal approach to continue. So for that, definitely our Vedatriya practices are guiding us step by step, right from the preparation of our physical body with the physical exercises, and after practicing that, the mental wealthiness is achieved by the meditation practice, and then the introspection practice, which will be strengthening us from the refinement of all our earlier bad habits, removal, all those things. So when we are gradually refining with all those practices, we will be able to achieve our life's goal. So again, what we get by all these Vedatriya practices, Maharishi is also telling that can achieve anything. So human being can achieve anything because of all these basic information which are given through the Vedatriya practices. And also when we talked about the treasure box, right? Treasure box, when we say the treasure box itself, it is meant as the place to store the valuable materials with secure manner, right? So that much importance is given to our own inner treasure box, which is the genetic center. So let us all work on that to store a clean and valuable, real valuable abundance items, so that it keeps giving again and again the positive imprints which is getting manifested from it, and all our life will be changing in future. Not only in our life, because as Maharishi is meant, it is getting hereditarily linked to our next generation also, the genetic center. So the same genetic center what we are leaving will be with our next generation also as a base for their imprint. Along with their imprints, it will be adding as a base with their imprints. So that is the reason we need to maintain our treasure box as a clean, real treasure box by understanding the value of it. So this is the information I thought of sharing with you all as a topic of thought today. And by this, really, I feel that the genetic centers' significance and importance is understood, and how we could utilize in our life to bring changes. So thank you for listening, and be blessed by the divine.